Here.
Ms. Mydell? Mr. Bowen?
Here.
And I am here. Okay. First thing we'll do is the invocation. Would anybody like to do the invocation? Okay. Stand. Dear Lord, we ask you to look over our city. There's been a lot of change recently, with more expected change coming soon. We hope that we make the right decisions for us and the people of Rinkin for a better, safer place. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Label. I was listening to Our Father for some reason.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, first, has everybody had the chance to look over the agenda? Now, we did have an addition to the agenda that came via email, with the cold storage unit. Has everybody had the opportunity to look at that? Okay, now my understanding is there were a few people, myself included, that I got into it, but it took 3 or 4 times with, you know, making it try to happen, so. Okay, so with that, do I have, a motion to approve the agenda?
How much to run the agenda for how it's been updated?
Okay,
Second.
okay, motion request by Mr. Doss, seconded by Ms. Boyette. Any open discussions on the agenda before we put it to vote? Okay, those in favor? Aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, passes. 6-0. Okay, very good. Okay, now the approval of the minutes previously on June 11th. The meeting, we had Mr. Elliott, myself, Mr. Bowen, Mr. Doss, Ms. Mydell were present. 2 members were absent, staff present, Ms. Lewis and Ms. Watley. Meeting was called to order at 6:40 by Mr. Milner. Roll call was initiated. Agenda was approved. The approval of minutes from May 21st were approved unanimously. We spoke on new business for the application by Cody Rogers for EMC Services, requesting a final site plan approval for a 22-unit townhome complex, 3 parcels. We did have a discussion on this. They were asking for final site plan approval to construct a 22-unit townhome complex over by Town Park. And they do have the city engineer's approval along with the required permits from GSWCC. Additionally, they have filed the NOI and have approval for water and sewer from the EPD. The project has all the approvals needed at this point. Mr. Logue added they also have approval from Georgia Power with a lighting plan from them. Mr. Milner asked Mr. Logue if these townhomes would be leased or sold outright. Mr. Bobby Bagwell, the property owner, stated that these were going to be for sale. Mrs. Lewis advised the board that they are in compliance with city ordinance and staff recommended approval. Motion to approve by Mr. Bowen, seconded by Ms. Mydell, and it was unanimously approved. The second item was review proposed changes to Chapter 90 Zoning and Growth Management, Article 3. Motion to recommend approval with the following changes by Mr. Bowen, seconded by Mr. Goss, and it was voted unanimously. In chapter 4, in parking and streets, we requested to add language to require lights in parking lots. Item 2, add specific requirements related to pavement markings for parking spaces. Item 3, delete the requirement that deliveries for commercial and industrial businesses be via a rear door. Item 4, consider whether the use of traffic cones should be required for certain types of vehicles, such as landscaping trailers or moving trucks, that by necessity park in the street on a temporary basis. Chapter 5, signs. Item 1, clear up the discrepancies in the temporary sign section related to the length of time different types of temporary signs are allowed. Item 2, add additional definitions for certain types of signs such as banners and temporary signs. Item 3, add language to require the signs be maintained in good working order. And again, it was approved unanimously. Motion filed by Mr. Bowen and seconded by Mr. Goss. The meeting was adjourned at 7:40. Motion approved by Ms. Mydell, seconded by Mr. Elliott, and it was voted unanimously. Any discussions on the previous meetings or any discrepancies?
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes as read.
Okay. Second. Mr. Bowen makes the initial motion. Mr. Elliott seconded. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And it's a unanimous vote. Just for the record, Ms. Mydell is now here. Hello. Good to have you. And we again have a full board present, which is outstanding. Okay. Okay, first item for today's meeting. Item 1, a petition has been filed by Antonio Crawford Frazier with T. Crawford Construction LLC for a zoning map amendment for a parcel located at 0 Cricket Lane to amend the zoning from R4 residential mobile homes to R3 residential multifamily. The parcel is owned by Antonio Crawford Frazier, R2040062. Do I have somebody here to speak on behalf of this?
Yes,
If you could approach, please, and state your name.
well, my name's Antonio Crawford Frazier. And, I'm trying to get that, piece of property that's on Cricket Lane rezoned from, first it was a mobile home park, but, it wasn't big enough to do it because the zone rules has changed. So now I had to have it rezoned for, from R3 to, from R4 to,
R3.
from R3 to get the multifamily home.
Okay. Now, this, in what I'm looking at, this isn't the mobile home park itself, right? This is the plot of trees to the,
Right, it's at the very back, so this is 9th Street right here. The mobile homes are basically the squares that you see, and he's actually subdivided out one more piece. It's newly subdivided out right here, about the same size as these. The remainder of it is what he's proposing to rezone.
Thank you. And if I'm correct in saying that that does not affect the existing mobile homes there, that's gonna stay like it is.
Exactly, it's only gonna be that portion, it's a separate, parcel of land.
Okay? And it looks like you're gonna put in stick-built homes,
Yes,
multi-family, duplexes, triplex?
yes, sir.
Okay, okay. And, you are aware of the codes for building those as far as, you know, what you can build on that, as far as duplexes and triplexes?
Yes.
Okay, good, good. Do we have any questions from the board?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have
Ms.
a
Brown.
question. So currently, it's an unapproved dirt road that connects to Ninth Street. And I know that with this development, that road or the entrance would need to be, basically improved to a wider paved road. And just wanted to see what the plans were for that.
Okay. My plans are to take you. I'm gonna take care of this area back here, this street right here. It's not been turned over to Rankin yet. Now, I'll come back before you all and see if it can be turned over to, if I can just get it decent enough to get it turned over and the city of Rankin can take over that street.
Okay.
The
So
city of
and then-
Rankin don't own it.
Right, so, and what I would add too is, so if this rezoning gets approved, then you would see this project come back for the development plan for that tract of land, and as part of that, we would have to see, how the road was being improved and, used for access. So at that point, you would see that. At this point, whenever we've talked about it, like we've talked about the fact that that road will have to be improved, but at this point, it's just a rezoning. It's still a good question, because we do want him to be aware that, you know, at the time that development would start, that would have to be improved.
How many homes are you looking to put on that property?
I'm thinking probably at the most 12, probably, 3 sets of, probably 9. 3
And
sets.
that
No,
property's
24.
acceptable for that?
Right.
Well, so keep in mind, we can't say right now for sure, like, the density, because we don't have a survey of the property showing any wetland setbacks, things like that. So right now, it's just, is it suitable to be rezoned from the current, mobile home zoning to R3 residential multifamily?
So the only entrance to this facility would be through the existing mobile home park now?
Through Cricket Lane, that's
Cricket
correct.
Lane, right, okay. Any other questions?
Which way's north on that map? Is it to the top of the screen or the bottom of the screen?
Sorry.
Which way is Ninth Street?
Right here to the bottom, to the bottom,
Main
it's
Street's
the
at
bottom.
North to the south.
Any other questions? Ms. Terry, does this, as far as, planning and zoning, any obstacles that you see?
There weren't, I mean, you know, obviously there are things that we will look at when it comes, for a development, site development plan. But right now, looking at simply rezoning it, no concerns.
Okay. Can I get a motion to?
Just if you can ask if there's anybody from the
Oh,
public.
yes, sorry. Anybody from the public have any questions, comments, objections? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay. Mr. Bowen makes the motion to approve, seconded by Ms. Mydell. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, unanimously passed. We will see you again. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming today.
Okay, you up, okay.
Okay, item 2. And just to let you know, when your reading's done, you don't have to stay if you don't want to, or if you just want to stay to brighten up the crowd, feel free.
Glad I want to stay.
But there's no snacks. That's right, the more the merrier, as Mr. Bell says. Item number 2, a petition has been filed by Tara Hunt for a variance to reduce the rear setback for a parcel located at 0 West 9th Street on a .435 acre lot. This parcel is owned by Tara Hunt, R2130033. Do I have someone from the public to speak on this? If you would state your name, please.
Priscilla Wahlberg with Epic Realty, representing Tara Hunt, the property owner.
Okay. And that was Priscilla
Wahlberg, yes.
Walker?
Wahlberg.
Oh, I'm sorry. E-U-R-G.
Close enough.
Wahlberg.
Yep.
Fabulous.
There's a
My
B and a D
hearing's-
in there somewhere.
Okay, so it looks like we are just trying to,
It's really coming down to the rear setback, so the, property is pretty wide and not that deep. we shifted the home to the very end, which gives us the most space on the setback line. However, we're about 5 feet on the very far right side and maybe about 8 feet coming in. So they asked for a 15-foot variance because they wanted to also allow for a enclosed screen or patio, back patio. And the builder is Schumacher, and they believe, well, not believe, but they say we can do an 8 by 12-foot patio and still be within if we had a 15-foot variance on the back. The lot behind is undeveloped, it's not landlocked. There's a little bit of, it's a good portion of access to the main road, which is 9th Street. So they're not landlocked, but they're not developing it as well. And we've met the seller, or not the seller, the owner of that lot. And he doesn't seem interested in doing anything back there anyway. But it is about an acre of land back there, so we wouldn't be encroaching too much on the property.
Any comments, questions from the board?
Is the patio gonna be covered?
Yes. Yes. So if the patio is covered, so if we're just looking at the very end where the patio is going to be, is going to be at the very end.
Up there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Please, thank you.
So the patio area will be in this vicinity here. Right, so right here, because our setback gives us about 33 feet and the house is 38 feet. So we're at this very point, we need at least 5 feet, and up here maybe a little bit more. But that patio being 8 feet would be well within a 15-foot variance.
Okay, still within the 15 foot?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'm not sure exactly where this is on 9th Street.
So there is a welcome to Rincon sign right on the center of that lot. Like it's,
Okay, right near the county, the city.
exactly, it's right at the, and the 911 address across the street is 808, so it's a little further in, it's past, actually, Mr. Crawford, where his lot is, it's a little bit past that, off of 9th Street.
Okay. And this is going to be a new development.
Yes.
Any other questions? Ms. Terry, anything from planning zone that you see that would be an issue in this case?
No, they make a good case for a variance, because as you can see, once all of the setbacks are applied, you know, it does leave just a very, very small area that would be developable without a variance. It's an existing platted lot of record, so it was already, you know, it was already platted this way. They're not proposing, you know, like a monster house or anything like that, where it would just be too big for the property that it's going on. So we found that it met the requirements for a variance.
Okay.
Did y'all get any other house plans that were maybe longer, skinnier houses, or?
So this was our third plan, and of the plans that the client, what the client detailed, this one was the least deep. The other ones, I think the first one we looked at was about 48, which would have been way too far over. So this one still fit the client's needs while trying to fit in that setback.
And then the patio you said on the back would be how many more feet?
8 by 12, so it'd be 8 feet out. So with the 5 and the 8, that'd give us about 13.
If there was a 15-foot setback, the patio would not be into the 15 feet, is that correct?
Correct. If we had.
That'd be a 10-foot, that'd be a 10-foot setback.
Right, it still would encroach at a 15-foot setback.
Oh, yes. So because right now that rear setback is 25. So had it been if we were at 10 feet setback, then we would be perfectly fine.
Okay. But you're requesting a 15-foot setback, or
right.
you're requesting a 10-foot setback?
We're requesting
I'm confused.
15. We're requesting a 15-foot variance on the current setback.
Right now, the existing setback is 25 feet, so what
you
they're
wanna
requesting.
take 15 off of that and then leave a 10-foot space. So it will be a 10-foot setback.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, there will be a 10-foot setback on the rear.
I just wanted to make that clear.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
This is gonna be a 2-story now.
Single story. No, I'm sorry, it's a 1.5, there's a second story over the garage area.
Bonus.
Yeah, bonus room.
Okay. Okay.
Any questions or comments from the public? Objections from the public? Okay, and if I can get a.
Answer another
Go,
question.
please do, please do.
You said the person behind there is not willing to sell any of the property.
He wasn't looking to sell, but he also wasn't looking to develop. We met him when we went to clear the land to do the walkthrough, and we asked him what his plans were, and he just had no
Does
plans.
he know that you're requesting a
Yes.
variance on setback?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
So everybody, just so that everybody on the board and the, public knows that for variances and also for rezonings, we notify everybody within 300 feet of the parcel, so, I actually had a couple of people reach out to me about this variance. One was the next door neighbor, the one that says McCumber Pulpwood, not in opposition, just wanting more information about what was being built there, and then somebody a little bit down West Ninth Street on the other side of the road. Same thing, just wondering what was going on, but that's exactly why we send these out, everybody within 300 feet, so that everybody has a chance to come they can come to this meeting, they also are, invited to the public hearing that'll be before council.
Okay.
Looks like there's a wetland down in the area that your neighbor.
In the lot behind us, yes.
Is that down close to Howard Avenue or?
It's on the other side, so if you're going 21 towards Springfield, you're gonna hook a left onto 9th Street, and you're gonna go maybe about, I don't know, maybe 2 miles down, just under 2 miles down to get to where that lot is.
So it's that, okay.
I'm-
It's out of the city limit.
Yes, yes, it's still,
Okay.
right, it's just,
Yeah.
it's, that's in the minutes.
Got it. Okay. Mount Carmel. Oh, okay.
I make the motion we approve the setback.
Okay, Mr. Elliott makes a motion to approve. Second, Mr. Doss.
No.
Before we take it to a vote, do I have any, since we've had further discussion, do we have any comments from the public?
Second, Rich Griffin.
Oh, Griffin, I'm sorry. Any comments, objections from the public? Okay. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
No.
Mr. Doss, as a no. Would you be willing to clarify your no?
I'm okay with the house being there 5 feet, but then adding a porch and screening that in, I just think it's getting too close to property lines in case something ever gets developed. I know it's not gonna happen now, but if the guy decides to sell the land, he gets in a car wreck and his family sells the land tomorrow, and they wanna develop it, and maybe they don't want that eyesore, and that's the variance that we should know for.
Thank you for that. That's a good explanation. Okay. Any updates on comments with that being said? Okay. It's approved 5-1.
But by 5 to 1? 6.
Oh, 6 to 1.
Okay.
Sorry, 6 to 1.
Okay, nope.
I'm not on this sheet, that's why I keep passing over.
And just with this one and the one prior to it, they will both be before council on August 12th for the public hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Okay, item 3, application's been filed by, Sharaf. Thank you, Gudia, requesting final site plan for approval of 44,000 square foot shopping plaza and entertainment facility The 3 parcels of 3.63 acres are located at Zero Capital Drive and are zoned GC General Commercial. The properties are owned by North Ridge Rincon LLC, parcels number R257000-2B00 at 1.29 acres, and then R257000-3B00 at 1.05 acres, and R257000-4B00 at 1.29 acres. Would you like to come up and speak, please?
And if, you, go ahead and come up, I was just to orient everybody, these are the parcels, the 3 parcels right in front of where Freedom Park is, where, people park during events, just so that everybody knows where we're
Does that
talking
go
about.
up to the fence line, or how close up is it?
Mhm.
Okay, it does go up to the, okay,
Yes.
I was wondering how big that.
Hi, please state your name.
Good evening, my name is Alexine Juke with Moffin Engineering, here to represent Mr. Sharat Gudla. His name is actually L.A. at the end.
Oh, L-A, not G-U-D-I-A?
Right,
So it's G-U-D-L-A.
that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So yes, we are, developing an undeveloped land, it's 3 parcels that are to be recombined. The shopping center will have 13 to 14, retail units, and the one on the far end is the entertainment center, which is more like an arcade. It has went through, review and 2 reviews, and we have sufficed all of your comments. The last being with fire suppression, which we have added, and step back in. Any questions?
Okay. So
How many units did you say was gonna be in here?
So, there are 13 sting ones. There's one on this end with a drive-through for like a pickup window or whatever. Those uses are not yet determined, but the one on the very far end, the larger unit, that's the arcade center. Entertainment center.
Because the average size are 1,200 square feet for those,
40.
14.
There's gonna be a restaurant in there?
There may be a couple restaurants.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's
That
up front.
doesn't do it justice on how big that.
Do you have
That's what.
clientele already established for this?
So my name is Shannon Griffin.
Hi.
So, plan is to have an entertainment center with a restaurant inside. So plan is to have like a sports center, sports bar and restaurant with, duck pin bowling and, mini golf and arcade. Mini golf,
Bowling?
yes,
Duck pin.
duck pin bowling.
What is that?
Duck pin bowling. So basically
that's
it's half of the size of a regular bowling.
Okay.
So we don't have that much square feet, so we thought we'll do a smaller version, and which is pretty popular in Savannah right now. So we'll have that, we'll also have mini golf and also arcade and other stuff.
And how big is that facility?
So that will be, itself will be close to, here it's 17, we are thinking it'll be, by the time we are done and everything, I think it'll be close to 18 to 19,000 to fit everything in there. So it's, mostly half of the building will be occupied by us. And we have prospective like an urgent care approached us. So the end unit, the proposal right now is to be an urgent care. And we have other couple of restaurants who are interested in from moving from Pooler. So we have a couple of businesses in Pooler, and we have an entertainment center in Savannah called Accelerate.
Okay.
So a similar concept we want to bring in here, looking at the development happening in here.
Good, so this gives us an idea of what that would look
I guess that
like.
property is still so small for me still.
The space.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome, that we can fit all that in there, that'd be great.
So yeah, we have a rough layout of what we have here trying to do. So that's one of the reasons to choose a duck pin bowling is like a regular bowling takes almost twice the space. 10,000 square feet is only taken by the bowling. And Yeah, we laid out pretty good, and we want to bring in something like, our concept is to have something like a Buffalo Wild Wings concept, right? Really nice place for where people can watch games and have a drink, something like that. So it's not like a complete entertainment center, because for entertainment center, you need, like you said, you need more than 35,000 square feet. So based on the market study we have done here, I think, and we also need to also estimate like the affordability of the space as well. So we thought 18,000 to 20,000 is reasonable, with a nice, our main focus would be the restaurant, and the other part would be the entertainment.
And this is all one level?
Everything one level.
Okay. And it looks like ample amount of parking.
Now, if they increase, like he said, he was going to like 17, you might get to 19,000, is that gonna change his parking situation?
It should not.
It should not.
I believe that they have more than.
No, I mean, is you said you got 160 and you're required 157, but that still won't bump it over needing more than 160?
If it did, they wouldn't be able to do it unless they could show that they could add the additional parking.
Okay.
So basically, our plan is to take up the additional units rather than building big.
Oh, okay, I got you, okay.
This one that's
Yes,
not
okay.
here.
So you're going, okay.
Yep.
I know you were, because I was just making sure that we had enough parking, because I think
Yeah.
parking is a
Big thing, yeah.
big thing here, and
Yes.
I mean, it supports your business too. If people can't park, they're just gonna turn and leave and go to the next place.
Exactly. Yep.
I see there's a check on here for stormwater. Is there any type of runoff plan for this, or when you say stormwater, what do we mean by that?
I'm gonna let y'all answer.
What, you said, I'm
We just
sorry.
wanted to know how the stormwater is being handled.
Runoff
so-
water?
Yeah, it should be master plan, so a lot of the stormwater is going into the pavers that we have on site.
I'm sorry, into the what?
Pavers that we
Okay.
have on site, and then it's draining into the storm drain.
The hashed area on the
All
plan right here,
favors.
it's gonna soak up some of the stormwater.
Okay.
Yes, and then
That's the way they designed it. Yeah. See this? And then.
Oh,
So it's like part of the-
Right, so in some areas that aren't master planned, you're used to seeing ponds, but in areas like this and along, like Town Park Loop in that area, it's all master planned, and that's why you don't see the typical ponds that you
Okay.
are used to
Yep.
seeing.
Okay, that was sort of my concern, because we know how big that area is. Mr. Bowen, do you know of any, drawbacks to doing it this way with the stormwater?
No, obviously an engineer has designed it.
I was gonna say, not only is it designed by an engineer typically, but we also have an outside engineer that reviews it for
Okay,
the
good.
city to make sure that it meets all of the, our stormwater requirements in our code.
Yeah, somebody's done a lot of work on it.
Yep.
I'm just curious if you may or may not, any idea roughly how many jobs this could create for the community?
So for the
Roughly?
entertainment center itself, I think it should create at least 20 jobs.
Okay, just for the entertainment.
Just entertainment center. And there are like proposal of 2 or 3 other restaurants coming in, so I think that should add up another 10 to 12, at least 20 more jobs.
Okay, so we could be talking anywhere from 50 to 100 depending
Exactly.
upon.
Yep.
Okay. Very good.
I'm happy to see pervious pavement and live oak trees being planted.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my next question, and, 58 trees required and 58 provided, so there's a plan for that. 2 dumpsters, and then it looks like the entrance and exits, Prosperity Drive, Capitol Drive, and North Ridge. So that's basically the 2 coming off of 21. Prosperity runs parallel to this facility.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And,
That's
what
where-
we're doing.
Yeah.
we have the red
Drive.
line.
Capitol Drive is parallel to the property. Prosperity.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Right, you've got Prosperity here, Northridge here, Capitol,
Goes, okay.
Ricketts
Yeah.
Chevrolet is right above, Lowe's is
Gotcha.
over to this side, Public Works is down here.
You have loaded up.
Yeah.
Prosperity.
Capitol Drive is parallel to the property. Prosperity. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's all I'm talking about.
Very good.
Lowe's out.
Oh, no, Lowe's is over, right back.
Okay, so we do have a red light right there, so good. Just sort of side, but, I'll ask you later on, Ms. Terry, about the smart lights. Okay, any other questions on this?
What's the total number of parking spaces that are shown here?
157 required, 160 provided. And of that, do you have an idea how many, handicap spaces?
Six.
Okay, 6. I don't see it on here.
And they meet the requirement on that
They're
as
on
well.
the drop there.
Okay, good. Questions? Comments?
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
exciting. This is exciting.
I have a comment. I understand the logic of the layout, but it's almost like the thing ought to be totally reversed 180 degrees, where the loading docks and all that stuff would be from the street, and the entrances to the shops and all would face the Freedom Park. If you wanna interact somehow with the Freedom Park and draw in people from, that are going to the festivities there, if they're, pedestrian, or if they're in that park, as opposed to pulling into the parking and going in the normal way.
So what is I guess the logic of pointing the face of the building this way versus the other way? I think it's
Mainly it's the visibility. Right now, we don't know what's going to go in the Freedom Park, right?
Right.
So we cannot base off our business based on what's going to be in the future, what if, right? And also, one of the reasons we put the Family Entertainment Center on this side is because that's the one which is going to pull people in to that space. Because if you look at right now, that will be blocked, like the Chevrolet will be blocking that space. Only the visible area would be where the first space is. Like you said, if I try to change it, then it's going to, for us it will be tough to release the space because of the visibility. And people would pay more attention if the parking lot is busy. Oh, there's something happening, oh, this place looks busy.
very good. Okay. Ms. Terry, everything that you see, planning, zoning, any comments?
No, they meet all of the requirements that.
The public, do I have any questions, comments, objections? Oh, I see some people pointing.
Sorry, I was just asking where the dumpsters were. I'm sorry, okay, there's a ton, every time I get excited, I'm sorry.
I like dumpsters too.
Yeah, he put it.
You felt it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Are we ready?
Yeah, do we have a motion?
I motion to approve this as it's been presented to us.
Okay, Mr. Doss, motion to approve, seconded by Mr. Griffin. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? It passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Now, on to our final, I may need to.
I've got some coffee you can pass out.
Thank you.
So for our item number 4, an application has been filed by Chad Zitterower with Kern and Company LLC requesting final site plan approval of a cold storage facility and associated infrastructure. The parcel is 23.7 acres and is located at 1300 Heritage Way and is zoned LN Light Industrial. The properties are owned by Medlog Cold Storage Savannah LLC, parcel number R281004. Thank you, sir. just so the public knows, 1300 Heritage Way, where is this?
All right, so good afternoon.
Okay, yes, please.
Chad Zitrauer with Kernan Company, here representing Medlog and Cold Summit. This particular application is off of Heritage Way, which is just north of Wiley's Home Center along Highway 21. So several of you are new to this board and some of you have been here a while. But this particular property has been through several hearings and going through a series of items from a development agreement back in 2021, or excuse me, a rezoning back in 2021 to development agreements in 2022 and 2023. Going back to the end of 2023, there was a height variance and preliminary site plan approved on this particular lot. And so the single sheet that I gave you is the preliminary site plan that was approved back in December of 2023. Going back to the initial question, is everybody clear on the location where everything is?
So my understanding is it's not the first, past the railroad tracks, it's not the first entrance, but the second entrance.
No, it is the first entrance.
Oh, it is the
first
first
entrance.
entrance.
It's back behind the well tower or the existing building that's there now, that's nearly complete, and the water tower. It's
Okay.
right back behind that, adjacent to the railroad tracks.
Okay, thank you.
All right, yes, sir. So going back to give you a little comparison, you know, between what you see today and what was approved previously. Initially, we had our rail spur coming from the Georgia Highway 21 side, being fed by CSX is what we're looking at that time. The modified plan has now, you know, changed, so we're now being fed by Norfolk Southern, and the rail approach is coming from the opposite direction, so it's not coming from the 21 side. So that is one item that has changed. In conjunction with that, we had to do a little bit of reorientation with the building. So basically, we had to rotate the building approximately 4 degrees from the preliminary site plan. All of the, you know, parking, rail, everything is still confined within the same 23.7 acres that was there before. In addition to that, the initial site plan was 336,000 square feet is what we had on the building. We are still master plan for that and intend to build out that full square footage. However, phase one of this development is only 280,000 square feet. So you'll see on the site plan, which is in the flip sheet set, the building shown there, I'm not sure if it's labeled, but it's 280,000 square feet. Since, as part of the development agreement, going back, some things that the master developer and the city agreed to, you know, were a 16-inch water main that was connecting and looping around from Highway 21 back to the water tower. That's not fully tied in yet, but a lot of it has been done with the 16-inch connection. What that has allowed us to do with this particular project is eliminate the need for fire water tanks. So we had about a 300,000 gallon fire tank, but because that loop and infrastructure has been put in, now we're meeting our fire requirements, you know, without needing that. So that's a big plus for us, and I think aesthetically it, you know, makes a big difference as well. You know, we have taken, because we have not done the full build out at this time, the original master plan had 148 auto parks. We are now proposing 136 to go in conjunction with phase one, but we have shown 35 additional that could be added when the expansion is done. So when we get to that 336, we have allocated space on the site plan for those additional 35 spaces. Related to that, our kind of part of what we based that on, because I think in the ordinance, like 1 per 1,000 square feet, which would be like 400 spaces, but we went through this with the preliminary site plan, we kind of addressed auto parking. And what we based that on was kind of our employee count. So we're looking at, you know, roughly 70 to 80 employees per shift, and the second shift is going to be down, so we're looking at a total of about 120 employees. And so that will allow even a shift change with the 80 plus to 40, and we feel like we're well in excess. So that's part of what that
So
justification is.
120 employees is what you're looking at.
Correct, yes. With a it's not a straight 60-60 split, you got more to do with the day shifting, right? You know, outside of that, that's kind of a summary of what has changed between the December preliminary site plan and what's, you know, here presented before you, tonight, as the final site plan application. Other than that, I'll be glad to answer any specifics or questions you may have related to the project. One more item.
Yes.
There was a height variance approved back in December, which allowed this building height to go from 50 to 55, so that is included.
Okay. So, when you say the rails are not going to be coming in from the 21 side of the tracks, they'll be coming in from another way, so we should hopefully see minimal to no.
You should see very minimal activity for what is there now. So what you have, that rail goes all the way to Plant McIntosh, Georgia Power, as well as Georgia Pacific. Georgia Power owns that rail. We're in a license agreement with them to be able to utilize it. However, our services for this facility are coming from Norfolk Southern, which is on the west side of 21. CSX has, you know, the main track on the east side of 21.
Okay.
And, you know, as far as what is going on now and the approach of our rail spurs, so that's coming in and we're constructing this for Norfolk Southern to serve this facility, you should see if any change in what is taking place on 21
Good.
today.
Good. All right. So we have a 55-foot, height variance that was approved.
A couple other things just for an update. In conjunction with the building that's out there now that I mentioned was, you know, pretty close to complete. A lot of things, from the master developer standpoint, I wanted to just relay this information. There's some signage and additional landscaping. A main focal point entry was a big item that was talked about in conjunction with this overall development. I wanted to let you know that that is not complete as far as the entry goes. The paving and all has been completed, but there are, you know, in the process of getting signs permitted and some additional
So that'll be
landscaping
another-
go out there to improve that
That'll be
entrance
another
from its
section, Terry?
current condition.
No,
No?
no. If he's just talking about what's been approved already, for instance, he's just letting you know that they haven't finished putting it
This
all
is
in.
Altogether.
This is the main
That's not
entrance out at
installed yet.
21,
Right.
so
But the
this,
signage falls within our ordinances?
Yes.
Yes, but not for the board.
Yes,
Okay.
That's
we're
great.
we're not proposing anything outside of what meets your requirements, I'm sorry, I'm the architect on the project. And as far as landscaping goes, we've earmarked $500,000 to put towards landscaping, it's really important to us.
What are some of the,
Just.
so we've got a plan there now that shows some oaks and cypress and different things for some minimal, but what, and I'm sorry, I forgot to, introduce Joanna back there. She's with Peak Design, Joanna Burling, the architect on the project, so, sorry to introduce, she's also representing Cold Summit. But we have shown in your packet is a minimal landscape plan that meets the minimum requirements. Peak and Cold Summit have, you know, this is basically the minimal tree ordinance. Peak and Cold Summit intend to come back and improve that, do some more landscaping around the buildings, some more shrubs and things of that nature that are really up and above what your ordinance requirements are.
okay. Mr. Elliott?
I have some questions, basically on that whole part of town where the railroads are gonna be interfacing with the trucks. Who's unloading on the what? Like, is this stuff coming in on the train and getting put on trucks, or is it gonna come in on trucks and get put on trains?
So for this particular project, which is a cold storage facility, the majority of what occurs is, you know, things come in from overseas on the rail. Excuse me, they come in from overseas on the trucks, come in on a ship, come to this facility. We load everything into the warehouse, into the cold storage facility from the trucking side for the most part. I say everything, but the majority of it. Then, you know, it gets frozen and then shipped out. And so the majority of it is an import, but we also have exports. So the majority of what is going on between the port and this facility occurs by truck. The majority of what you know, goes out of town, gets on, as opposed to going to 16 or 95 and going to Atlanta, the majority of that occurs by rail. So that's kinda how it operates, but we set it up where you basically got a loading dock on the back of the building, so similar to trucks. You got 60 foot of operating space on the trailer side, on the truck side, so your forklifts can unload and everything. We've got the same thing on the back side of the building, so before you've got what they call a freezer area, so that you can load everything in there. It is conditioned, it's not open, but it's not contained to specific degrees, it's basically just a cooler area. And that allows you to take everything from the rail into this loading area and then get it into each particular, freezer based upon what degrees it needs to be in different levels. But there's no conflict from operations between the rail and trucks.
Are there any expectations or anticipations for truck traffic, as far as quantity, 100 trucks a day, 200 trucks a day?
Basically, everything with going back to our zoning and initial applications, everything, with distribution warehouse facility, non-cold storage related, is, the cold storage is about a 50% reduction typically when you go from typical standard warehouse distribution to cold storage. In addition to that, this particular facility has a rail component. Now, the ITD standards don't really address how much of reduction you get from that. ITD is what the DOT goes by. But I would anticipate this being 30–40% of what a high use, warehouse distribution center would be. Conventional warehouse distribution center.
This is near my house, and I see blast furnace, and I just wonder blast freezer.
Yes.
What's the toxic, worst case scenario for this place?
So, just so you know, this is the greenest facility of its kind in the country. It's going for BREEAM certification. BREEAM is the global, so LEED came around like 20 years.
Just so that we can catch you on that.
I'm so sorry, Jimena Burling, I'm the architect on the project, but this is the greenest facility of its kind in the nation. BREEAM certification, so there's LEED, the certification that you guys are aware of, that's spawned from BREEAM, which is global. And so it's an Energy Star building, it's all contained. As far as visually, it is, we are investing a lot in the aesthetics of the facility. There's been a lot of extra money spent on welfare. So while we are employing 120 plus new employees from Rinkin, we have gone the extra mile and spent the extra money to make sure it's an appealing and comfortable facility for everybody involved. There's green space that surrounds the entire area for all employees. I implore you guys to come by our job trailer. We have on the inside of it all the images, and we can share it with everybody. But now, once we get through this phase of the project, you'll see the building permits for it, and you'll see how much extra we've put into this. CSD, they don't sell their facilities, they own them for 50 years in perpetuity. They pride themselves on having the best of its class in the marketplace. And so as far as safety is concerned and efficacy, this is far exceeds all those metrics. We can go through them or itemize them, but that is not a concern at all. It is, so the blast chillers sit on top of this roof here. So these are 3 blast chiller areas here. They're all contained and they're monitored 24/7. And it's ammonia chillers that sit on top of. They're called blast chillers, but they're all contained, and there's devices that monitor it all the time, and we can monitor it from anywhere. And there's extreme safety measures that are put into place so that these facilities.
What about sound? Sound studies or noise level around there from those things I've cranked up?
Yeah, so, I've been to them and you, outside of our property lines, you should not hear anything. The trucks would make more noise than these actually make. They're really self-contained units. It's just imagine a container, but it's made out of insulating metal panels that are set on a rooftop. So all of that technology happens within this contained space. Oh, I have images of them that we can share with you guys, but aesthetically, they're pleasing. It's not a great sound concern or smell or anything else to that nature.
And this facility, and Joanna knows more about this than I do, but it's my understanding that this is basically the newest technology out there.
It is.
And so this is these guys that are coming in to operate this have went above and beyond from my understanding as far as
Yeah.
the technology being the most advanced and in front of the market as you can.
It's a new, innovative, refrigeration are the ones that are handling that component of this project. It is the latest on the market anywhere. We're very proud of this. It's a newly patented, way of blast freezing, and we're happy to share that information with you. But this is the state of art. I am so excited about this project. I've been doing cold storage for my entire career. It's longer than it looks. And this is by far the gold standard in facilities. It's going to be quite amazing.
The ammonia. What's the process for communicating to the public if there is an ammonia leak? That's a concern that I have.
If there's an ammonia leak.
You're saying ammonia is the main feeder to this blast furnace, correct? So you're gonna have liquid ammonia on site?
Yeah, it's all self-contained and it's shut off so that there isn't, but there's all procedures that are, it's a regulated chemical, right, obviously, there's
Yeah.
procedures that are in place to ensure that, and we've met extensively with the fire department here to ensure that we're in compliance with everything. And so, I mean, I understand your concern, but we have had those extensive meetings already from the building side. We've met with David and the fire marshal to ensure and that they are, A, we are compliant, that we're meeting expectations, and B, that they are fully aware of how this is gonna operate. But there's shut off procedures, it's an extensive operation.
And to further address your concern, specifically when we met with, David Lou a few months back, that was recently after the incident occurred down off of, at the south end of the county at a cold storage facility. And we were specific in asking questions and what specifics they could provide as to what occurred there to, ensure what happened and make sure it didn't happen here. This operator, has third party, safety aspects and, to ensure we meet all those regulations. In addition to that, we have no objection regarding the notifications that will go out as to, getting with Ms. Lewis and the city manager, so that in the event something occurs, that the city would like to be notified to put them on some call list, specifically when you have an event such as a fire suppression system go off. That sends notifications to the fire marshal and automatically alerts them when that occurs. I don't know the specifics of these notifications, but I feel certain we can get them added to our emergency contact list, so that when something happens, if that's something, you guys and council would like to see, we wanna be as open about whatever your concerns are as you do.
And I think you'll see that as part of our next submission through the building permitting phase of things, that we have fully addressed all of that safety.
The reason I'm digging so deep is my prior life, I sold the ammonia to companies like you.
Okay.
And that's my concern, because it's a nasty material. And it's, do we know any feedback from Chief Reed? on this?
I just know that they're correct, they've met, well in advance of this project going forward with
Chief
both.
Reed's good, then that's.
Chief Reed, and he's reviewed these plans, and then he'll also review that component of the building plans as well.
And
We
please,
did
I'm not trying to knock
Oh, no,
it
I
down,
totally
but
respect it,
I respect the material
Yes.
that you're using to the point. Do we know the closest house to this facility, roughly?
It is in excess of probably 3,000 or 4,000 feet, and it is probably the former mayor's house would be about the closest one to this residence. Across the railroad tracks, across the power line, down the roadway is about the closest.
Depending upon the way the wind's blowing, so.
Right.
Okay, thank you for your detailed information on that. That means a lot.
No problem.
Do we have any other comments or questions for this particular, this may tie into this. We talked previously about the house, and I think it's a second entrance, not the first one.
It's, right, where you're talking about is the CTC warehouse is.
Yes, yes. So what I'm bringing up, there have been concerns at the second entrance that people live in those homes, the amount of truck traffic going in and out. So, but I don't think that even.
It doesn't.
I don't think it has anything to do with this,
Yeah.
and for your information, the first house that comes in, just so you're aware, the master developer had the same concerns, and they wound up purchasing that house. Now they still rent it to someone else, but to just kind of, you're not the only one that saw it.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Public, would anybody from the public like to interject? Questions, comments, concerns, objections? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
One other thing, Ms. Terry, from the planning and zoning, are we,
So this one is a little unusual in that it does not meet all of the requirements right now. However, the code allows it to move forward to y'all only. It cannot go forward to council until they've met all the
Okay.
requirements. We just received the resubmittal last Wednesday, so, we haven't, us, staff and our outside engineer haven't completed the re-review yet. But Chad knows that, it has to be, that all those comments have to be addressed before we can go to, council, before this can go to council.
And we're still expecting his review complete tomorrow, is that correct?
That's correct.
We can go ahead and approve it.
Yes, yes, you can still go ahead and, recommend approval.
approval to move forward with the,
Understanding that all gets
yeah,
approved,
the
yes.
updates are addressed.
Right, you can, if you wanna put that condition on it, you're welcome to, but it, per our code, it can't go to council until everything's been addressed,
Okay.
so.
But it doesn't have to come back here, right?
It does not come back here.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Mr. Bowen with the, for this one, Mr. Bowen makes the, initial, and Ms. Boyette seconds it. Again, any questions, comments, or concerns before we put it to vote from the public, from the board? Ms. Terry? Okay, all in favor, aye? All opposed, nay? Okay, unanimous.
Thank you very much, appreciate
Thank
it.
you for your time.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you for your time for coming in. This really is good to have participation. I can see you've worked long and hard on this project.
It's been a while, and a lot of changes.
You have to, it is, I love this project is the most beautiful of its kind in the nation. You will see that. It is-
I
it is-
want to come out and just take a, at some point.
So the job trailer
I mean-
has all of the imagery of the
Yeah.
project, all the floor plans, all the materiality. I mean, this is a brick building. You do not see industrial brick buildings anymore, like on the facade. It is, so much money and time has been put into
Nice.
the employee welfare, well beyond anything I've ever seen before. So yes, it's around the product and it's great with its capacity. It can freeze 3 million pounds of meat a day. So that's pretty phenomenal, but also it is a state-of-the-art facility for everybody that gets to work inside of it. So we're really excited about it. It's got EV chargers, I mean, solar, we just approved putting solar on the roof, and so it really is like leading the way in buildings. And it's gonna be hugely marketed and publicized globally, cause the client is global, and so we're just so excited to
So
see
we may
it.
see people from other areas coming in just for.
Oh, just to visit,
visitation. Yeah,
as soon
absolutely.
as the construction is like far enough along, you will see people coming from everywhere, like Syson's is going in this building, you will see people coming, all of the clients from
That's what I'm
CSD will be
saying.
through here, it is gonna be a huge draw, like they're gonna market this
Do you, why don't you have a card for
Yeah.
us to?
And we can set something up, so once we get everything kinda going and there's some more activity out there, like she said, we have the office trailer set up, but there's.
Well, you have Terry's
panel boards
information,
and the
correct?
full thing, but we can set up, I mean, either a workshop or a tour or whatever.
Yes.
For both the planning board
That'd be
and
perfect.
council, whatever, to come out and just take.
Terry, you wanna coordinate that through you?
I will.
Right now, there's a bunch of dirt out there. Not much
I mean, there's
to
a
see.
trailer that shows what we're doing, and of course I left them.
That's okay, you know how to get a hold of
Oh,
Terry.
wait,
Yes.
totally do.
Yeah.
And our commitment, so I technically live in Florida, but, and the client lives in Florida too. A lot of owner to this project fully. The contract partner is a Georgia contractor, and so we're excited and committed to making this a phenomenal project.
Thank you.
And to the
Appreciate
city of
it. Thank
Rankin,
y'all.
because we're looking at another one, just down the road.
All right,
Very excited. In Rankin, yeah.
last you talked to him, I think we'd have something back tomorrow.
Should be tomorrow. So they're just kind of-
I tried to reach out to him earlier just to see if he didn't hear anything back, but sounds good. We'll get in touch tomorrow, Thursday.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all, have a good evening.
Thank y'all.
Okay, I have a motion to adjourn the meeting by Mr. Goss, seconded by Ms. Boyd. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay? Meeting end is at 7:38. Thank you, everybody. Especially on the last one.